am Negan.
I am Negan.
What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of I Am Negan, a TWD Universe podcast. My name is Adam Vale. I'm an editor over at the Koalition.com. Tonight I'm joined by Richard Bailey Jr., editor-in-chief of Koalition.com. What's up, Rich?
What's up, Adam? What's up, listeners and viewers?
Yes, and there are a bunch of them out there, people. Thanks again for the support over on Spotify and on iTunes and YouTube, and we've seen it jump. A lot of people jumping in, and not sure if they're all jumping in for this World Beyond, which is what we're about to talk about, but they're definitely jumping on for Walking Dead proper, and it's most likely because it's last season. But it's cool. Thanks. Let's come along for the ride. So I just want to appreciate all you guys. So this is for World Beyond Season 2, Episode 1, Konsekans. And we looked it up. And it's Creole for consequence. At least that's what it says on the wikis. Consequence. And I guess it makes sense, right? There's a lot of consequences going on here. Things going on. Mm-hmm. So, all right. See, I'm trying to think positive. I'm trying to think positive and trying to talk positive about this. For those who have been with us, we started a few years ago with this podcast, but those who've been from the beginning, remember when World Beyond started, we were hyped. We're like, oh, this is going to be cool, right? We're looking forward to it. Kids, and it's still taking place in the same timeline of Walking Dead proper, for those who don't know. It's still within the 10 years. So this is happening toward Omaha, that area, as opposed to everything going on in Atlanta, Georgia, DC, and all that stuff with our Walking Dead proper crew. So we're really hyped on this, and then it just turned out to be like a teen special. It's hard to explain. Like, it definitely didn't feel like Walking Dead. It felt like one of those freeform TV shows for preteens and all that stuff, talking about life and what they're going through. It's just something about it. And then the acting felt off. Maybe it's not so much of the actors' faults, but just the direction that they were put in, and just try to act remorseful in this scene, and it's just be cheerful, and there's nothing to be cheerful about. This is supposed to be a dark time. Horrible things are happening, and everyone is just clean, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like Walking Dead, but we tried to give it benefit of doubt, and we covered it. So if you want to go into that, if you actually care about World Beyond, go ahead. We have all 10 episodes. We covered all of them. So here we are. This is for the return of season 2, and for those who don't know, there's only 2 seasons, and it's not that it's getting canceled or anything. It was always designed just for 2 seasons. We knew it was just going to be 2 seasons once they launched the series. So all I'm gonna say right now is I'm thankful that it's only 2 seasons, because this is not it's not a good show. It's not a good show. I'm going to be honest. If this was not linked to the Walking Dead universe, I would not be covering it. I would not be watching it. And that's it. That's the bottom line. I mean, it wouldn't matter if they were to throw known characters. Maybe I'd just pop in just to see what's going on with them. Other characters from Fear or Walking Dead proper. But it's not. And it's just, it doesn't do it for me. I'd love to hear from you guys. Go ahead, put comments, wherever you can put comments. Are you feeling this? Is anybody feeling this? Because I am not. So we'll get into this, but this is going to be a little more free-form discussion, because there was a lot of fluff. And that's the issue I have with a lot of these episodes. You got the ambient sound with the slow piano, and it's trying to really have that emotional. Like, my wife, she watches, This Is Us? And it has a lot of that, ding, 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 and people talking, and it's like, oh, it's a sentimental moment. No, they're trying to do that here, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work because I don't care about these characters. Mm-hmm. I just don't care. And none of it really makes sense. And we're just going to get into the key parts of this episode. So we learn with the flashback at the beginning that Elizabeth, who's one of the commanders for the CRM, and she's the main protagonist of causing all these fucking problems here, they blew up Omaha. So we see that there was a bunch of what they call columns as we would know as large hordes, right, from Walking Dead proper. And they were like, well, we see that they're going through Omaha, and from what she says is that that's also leading to the university, which is where, at the time, that's where Iris and what you call it, and Hope and everyone else are. That's their base, the campus. So anyway, we see that they plant all these explosives in the road and they blow it up. They just blow it up. And okay, fine. This is it. This is what's going on. But what's the whole point of that? I mean, I guess because there's all these walkers. They don't know where they're coming from. They call them empties. We're calling them walkers. And sorry, I've been watching this for like 10 years. I'm not changing it. That's it. They're walkers. And I don't know. That right there sort of threw me off because it's like, all right, so what are we supposed to feel from this? Yes, maybe not all the people down there or the walkers are all walkers. Maybe there were just regular people. But they blew it up. And it's like, yeah, all right, well, whatever. And that right there didn't do anything for me, but it was supposed to. And then they fast forward to the current time, and we see that Hope is with Huck, which is Elizabeth's daughter, as we discovered toward the end of last season. And they're in a helicopter, and she thinks that because she joined up, she was like, yeah, I'm going to go, I'll help you, so, if you're good with my sister, which is Iris and Felix and all that, leave them alone. And she's going to go in and reunite with her dad. But then at the last minute, Elizabeth's like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to take a detour. We're going to go do something else. So she brings her to the cliffside so she could see this destroyed city. It's like, oh, look, this is what happened. This is the life out there. So you're either with us or you're against us. And we really need you to join up with us. It's like, what are you talking about? She's like, whatever. I want to be with my dad. No, I don't believe you. I don't believe. It's just, the scene goes too long. And then eventually she says, you know what? This is Hope. I don't care. I'm leaving. I'm just going to go find my sister again. And Liv's like, go ahead, go. And she's like, okay. And she just walks off into the city. That's BS. That's just BS. No one would do that. She doesn't know which direction to go. She never looks at a compass. She never says, hey, by the way, all right, I'm going to leave now. You're cool with me leaving, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, can you give me a map and show me where we are now compared to where my sister and Felix, so that way I can go meet up with them? No, none of that. She just grabs a backpack and goes wandering off into this destroyed city. What did you think of that? I just rolled my eyes when that popped up.
Yeah, I think it was very obvious that she wasn't gonna go anywhere. I guess it was mainly meant for her to have a moment of self-reflection as to what is going on, how it's impacting everyone else differently, and that if she did try to go out there on her own, she would not survive.
Yeah, it was just, that just, it didn't get me. And then we find out from here also that this was Huck's idea to do the long game of taking her on this journey, because he said, oh, if I did this, I can convert her and to, come on now. None of that made sense. All you had to do is say, hey, do you want to see your dad? Yes. Okay, get on the chopper. That's it. Think about it. From once they realized that they wanted to see their dad and they were getting the fax messages that sound like he was in trouble, the sisters just wanted to see their dad. Huck didn't have to do any of this. All she had to do is put her on the chopper. But no, they're doing this, the long game, converting them, and it was like, and Huck was like, oh, you sure this is a good idea? Just sending her out there, I spent all this time bringing her over. It's like, no, we need her to come to us. She has to want to be with us. I was like, unless this is going to be one of those where she's going to go into Omaha, she's going to find some other survivors, she's going to start a rebellion or meet up with a rebellion group, and something like that is going to happen. This is pointless. And this whole thing was pointless. And we're going to get into how it was pointless, because they show her going into a building and she's just wandering around. It's dark. Why are you walking through this building? Why not stick to the main roads? What's going on? Do you plan on hanging out here? I thought you were trying to get to your sister. Are you trying to settle now? Is this it? You're going to find a home? That didn't make much sense to me. But anyway, She's in this building. Then out of nowhere, you got some walkers start banging on the walls of like a glass window area, and it startles her. She goes running. She goes falling down the stairs. Boom, 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 boom. Bangs her head. Now she's hallucinating. She hears things. She sees things. She had saw a picture of some little girl, not little, but preteen or whatever. And then she sees her, and then they start talking, and she just starts freaking out about the whole thing. It was pointless again with that because I'm like, okay, what are you telling me? What is this? So should she be doing this? Should she not be doing this? And then what happens? Right after that, all right, she leaves. She goes back and says, yeah, I'm back. All right, I can't do it on my own. I'll do it. I'll follow in. I'll fall in line. It's like, okay, let's go. What was the point? And yeah, we've all watched it. You guys are listening, watch it, so I don't need to go through all of it. But I'm sure that while you're watching, it's like, well, it's fluff. This is what I'm saying. It was fluff. It was not needed at all. They could have done a lot more with that. They could have linked up with what we'll talk in the second part of this with the whole perimeter crew. They could have had something like that. Like, that's what I was thinking. Maybe that when she does come to, because she was knocked out, that there was another person really there, and that person's part of that perimeter group, and that person is now going to bring her over to the perimeter. Then she'll reunite with Iris and Felix, and that this whole sending her off and that she'll just come back, that Elizabeth had, that plan, would backfire on her. And then maybe they'll send Huck and the rest of CRM to do like a search and rescue type of thing, thinking that she's somewhere in there. And in turn, there's a big firefight, and we get a big city battle within this dilapidated situation here. It's just Omaha, just to shits. So I don't know. See, I'm just all over right now because this really pissed me off. This episode really pissed me off. And it's the show. It's just something about it doesn't flow. There's no consistency with just feeling like, all right, this is like urgency or progression of any type. Like, that doesn't make any sense with what they were doing with this. Oh, man. And it's like, when we go further with that, we see her later back at the compound. This is where Hope and Huck comes in and starts talking to her. And again, she was like, well, Hope says, I hope you know I only came back because this is the only option. I couldn't do anything else. I just want to see my father. And it's like, well, we don't know if he could do that. Well, I have to go see my father. This is why I'm here. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. What was that? It didn't make any sense because, like, well, you already agreed that you came back, and they agreed that you're going to see your dad. And then now you're having this discussion about it again and complaining. And then what happens? She does reunite with Leo, the dad. And there you go. Because the other stuff with all this is that it's not that she's an amazing scientist now. It's like the way they describe it is like they see her as someone else that can continue the father's work. So are they trying to say that they plan on killing the father and then just have her? Because originally they said that the whole thing with the daughter of bringing her was to just motivate Leo. Like, hey, we got your kid, that type of thing. But then they decided to change it up to make it seem like, I'm assuming the Hulk was going to try to convert Hope to the dark side, to the CRM side. So then that way, even when Leo is like, oh, we can't do this anymore. It's okay, no. And then there's like, Hope is, no, they're cool people. We're going to work together. Like, is that what they're going for? But then you only have 9 more episodes now to wrap this up. So I
think that, well, what I got out of this particular part of the story is that obviously Elizabeth wants to see if Hope actually will follow through and want to contribute to this without being forced. And that was the whole reason why she had her leave to try to test the theory as to if she can survive. Obviously she did survive, but she suffered a concussion. Things are a lot tougher. And that was when she came to the realization that she cannot survive on her own. So but then at the end of the test, she finally gets to see her father. So, I mean, my guess is that yes, they want her to continue on the legacy. I don't really know if they intend to kill him per se, But again, we know as a viewer that we should doubt them because of what happened with the campus. And I recall there was an episode last season where you saw them at the campus, obviously, you know, tearing it apart. Now you know what was the whole point of that in this episode. So
Yeah, yeah.
at least there was some explanation as to what was going on with all that stuff, but still not a very compelling show, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, they showed it off, right? They destroyed, the CRM destroyed Omaha, and they destroyed the campus. It's gone.
Yep.
And we'll get into how the rest of the group finds out. But yeah, so she reunites, and we knew, like, at no point in this episode did I not think she was going to come back and that she was going to reunite with the father. Because that was the whole point of this. When we heard Huck say, oh, we're using her as leverage for Leo, so I'm like, all right, I guess Leo is trying to fight back and not get involved or to work on whatever projects they have him on. And they needed leverage. But this is again why when she described like the whole long game system, and then to play this, oh, we want to see the test your loyalty and send you out to Omaha that's all destroyed. That made no sense. There was no point because we knew she was not going to survive out there. And if it was any one of us, if it's us or anybody else, probably people listening, you all know the right answer when they said that. You just say whatever they want to hear. Be like, oh, you damn right I'm all CRM. I'll get the tattoo. Let's do it. You got the ink gun? Let's do it. I'm in. I'm in it to win it. Let's go. You say whatever needs to be said so you can reunite with your father. Because what happened? Full circle. When she's sitting there with Huck, she says just that. I said whatever you needed. I'll do whatever because I want to be with my dad. I didn't want to do it. I couldn't do anything out there. I couldn't do it for myself. That was it. Okay, so then it was a waste because unless it was a matter of days. Let's say if it was days or weeks and she got lost or something, but it wasn't. It looked like it was just a few hours. Right? It didn't look like it was multiple days. It looked like, she went into one building, she fell down the stairs, she knocked out, she hallucinated, and she woke up and said, yeah, I'm out of here. And that's it. Went right back. Oh, all right. Well, whatever. So that's it for her part of the story. The next, little more interesting, but it's Iris. Iris is just not a believable character for me. So we see Iris and Felix, and they, as we saw in the season finale last year, they reunite. My Brooklynese is coming in strong, people. My bad. They reunite with Will. And if you remember, Will is one of the other soldiers that was also from the university campus, and he was the one that went on the trip with Leo. He's also the lover of Felix. And that's something else that we had found out later on, that the connection of why Felix really wanted to find Will. Mm-hmm. So Will explains that he escaped and that they were looking for him, and during the process he found another group and he's been helping them out with hunting and a few other things, and they're called the Perimeter. And it doesn't look that far from where the CRM are, but then again, like just Walking Dead proper, they don't have a map, so we don't know, but the scenery, the environment looks the same. So anyway, they go to that campus, the perimeter, their little compound area, and they meet, and I forgot the woman's name, but she's in charge, and she pulls almost like a Rick situation. Remember, Rick had the 3 questions? Yeah. Right? But she does the one, like, what do you live for? Yep. And Iris says, hope. And then she's like, oh, yeah, that's a good one. And I was like, yeah, but I think she's talking about hope as in her sister Hope. She wants to see her sister. But whatever, doesn't matter. So, we get a touching moment with Will and Felix. They're bonding. They're back together. That whole shebang. And that's pretty much as far as it goes, because then there's a lot of talking of trying to figure out what's going on. They don't know much. Will does explain that they are doing some testing and that Leo is an important player over there, so he's pretty sure he's still alive, and she's definitely sure that Hope is going to be alive, because I think he knows that was their plan was to just try to get for some reason just Hope. Because think about it. If you have two kids, if you can't get one, at least you get the other one. That should be a motivation enough to get a father to do anything. I have children. If somebody just had one of my kids, yes, I'm going to try to work something out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why they felt it was just about Hope, because they kept saying she's the smart one. And that was the big swerve of the last season, because remember they kept making it seem like it was Iris, right? Iris, she's the smart one. She's the one figuring things out, this and that. And it turns out, no, she's not. When we saw the flashbacks from Leo, that it was Hope, that she was the brainiac, and she's the right hand, but she liked to do, hang out and drink and do all the other party stuff, So, she was like the Val Kilmer from, the Genius movie, Young Genius. What was that? Oh man, that was a Weird Science. Was it Weird Science? Oh, I'm blanking on that one. That was a great movie. Did you ever see that one with Val Kilmer at the science school and with the principal, and he filled it up with popcorn through a satellite, shooting a laser in the house? Oh man, that was something else. But anyway, yeah. So that whole thing happens there, and she finds a walker outside. And she attacks, and she takes off the mask or the skin, or starts peeling on it. Do you recall that? It was a helmet of a CRM.
Yep.
Right? And she was like, "It's you, it's you, it's you." And it's like, okay, so you're gonna fight now. All right, that's it. And that's pretty much it. If you want to ask for Elton, which was the other member of the crew, he was a no-show. We don't know where he is. Silas. We get he never pops up on camera, but Huck does mention that they have him, because we know they caught him from last season, but he's not talking. He doesn't really have much information. There's nothing going on. So what's the point? They were like, what are we going to do with him? I don't know. We just have him. But he didn't pop up on camera. And who knows where the hell Elton is. And that's it. Everything else was just back and forth fluff. Like, it just... And when I mean fluff, it's just like dialogue going in circles with things, but nothing really progressing. Like with Walking Dead, everything progresses. We get a point A to point B to point C. Here, it's just circles, like we just said. That whole thing with Hope and with Elizabeth and going out to Omaha and coming back, and then the long back and forth discussions between Elizabeth and Huck about their motives and what they're trying to do with this, and this was your plan, and is she gonna do this? I'm like, too much. It was just too much.
Yeah. I do want to make one comment about Iris's storyline. I know that when we saw the first episode last season, she was very hesitant in trying to kill the Empty, aka the Walker. And it was a whole thing about her going on this journey, trying to build confidence.
Yeah, she would throw up on them and stuff. She was getting nauseous and.
Yeah. So for her to make that jump to now all of a sudden killing a human, an actual human person, I thought that was a very dramatic change. All because. Yes, they lied, and now you know for sure that the CRM was involved in what happened at the campus. I understand that, but I thought that was a very ridiculous jump to all of a sudden now. If she was struggling to kill Empty, but she has no issues killing a actual human person, yeah, that's a very I'm not sure which path they're going with that character. Obviously, I guess they're going to try to make her darker, but it feels to me as though they are trying to play around with the same themes that we see on the Walking Dead, the proper Walking Dead show, but it still does not quite feel appropriate for some of the characters because again, they're kids. They're not grown adults that have a lot more going on. So,
and in Walking Dead proper, it took time for a lot of those characters. It took time to see Maggie develop into the Maggie that we have now. It didn't like, oh, she went away one weekend. Look at her now. Damn, G.I. Jane over here. Woo, look at her. She can throw a tomahawk. No. You know what I mean? That's not how that happened. It took years. There was time jumps. There's no time jump with this. This episode continued right from where the season finale ended.
Yeah.
We saw Felix and Iris with Will out in the field when they came across them and started their conversation. That's it. So, We'll see. Well, there's 9 more episodes, people. There's 9 more episodes. I'm really, I know just from the ratings from last season, they weren't good at all. So from that alone, if we were to go based off of that, the Walking Dead community is not into this. This is not really what they wanted. And I remember when the showrunners were first discussing what this show was going to be about, they said they were going to take a different approach. They were just going to try something different. So I put that as like this was an experiment to see if they can try something different. I don't know who this is for because yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know who it's for. I will give them credit for trying to do a different concept, but when you have the other shows such as the regular Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead, and the storyline and characters are more compelling, it's just like, yeah, I really don't think that this was an attempt that was needed because those shows have been great. Um, but this one, it clearly stands out as the weaker of all the three
Oh yeah,
shows.
yeah. Especially the first episode of the season, it doesn't have to be all about action, but just progress the story. Let's get
Hmm.
somewhere. And there's so much long, fluff dialogue that I found myself like just drifting, like thinking about something else. Like, all right, what else do I have to do later? What do I? Oh, I got some reviews to do. I got somebody to email. And I was like, wait, I gotta stop. I gotta focus on it. And then rewind. And I was like, all right, damn, all right, let's focus. Let's focus. Come on now. I just can't. I just can't. And then something with the camera. Whenever the camera shakes. I don't know if I noticed with the close up with Iris. There's something with the camera work, and it just like bounces around when it does these close up shots. I don't know. It was weird. I
Well,
wasn't drinking either, so I don't. It wasn't just me. It was. I was like, what the hell? And I did a rewind, and it's something. I don't know. It was
so
weird.
I know exactly what you mean, and I would say, yeah, I have noticed that with the camera, but I also want to add this point because you've already mentioned about Hope, and she has these hallucinations, flashbacks, all this different stuff happening to her in this episode because she has a concussion. I just want to say the way that they edited some of this stuff in this episode, it's like I am glad that you have access to, you're able to watch the showrunner talk after the show because if that video did not exist, it's very confusing for someone just watching. I mean, yes, you pay attention, but it's confusing when you see a lot of stuff because I recall in one of those instances where she did hallucinate, she actually they showed her killing Elizabeth for a quick second, and then it's like all of a sudden it flash frames to a different thing. Like she stabbed her, but then it didn't show anything else. Obviously, she thought she was there, she wasn't there, and it's just confusing. So
Yeah, and then
the
for
sh-
those that what we're talking about, that showrunner part that comes up from what I remember. It's only on AMC Plus.
yeah.
That's where you'll see that, and it's definitely helpful because it fills in some of the gaps of like, wait,
Hmm.
what was going on? And then I was like, oh, okay, because some of that doesn't come off well. So, whatever. But there goes that. Hopefully, next episode's better. I don't really know what to expect, and that's the thing. If we were to discuss where we think this is going, I the obvious is Will and Felix and Iris try to convince that group, the perimeter or whoever that's there, the soldiers, I haven't seen too much there, to go and try to fight CRM to, like she said, her goal is still to save her sister and her father.
Hmm.
And then what? They have a battle. Maybe that's why they have this other group, so that way it gives an army behind them, and we're just gonna have a big brawl. I don't know. I think the way they advertised it, the World Beyond before, and the little teasers that we saw, it seemed like they were doing some kind of experiments, right? And whether it was coming up with a vaccine or something to prevent themselves from getting sick or preventing bites, because I think that's what it was. We saw a lot of people that they would turn, and I think they were giving shots, and then they would have them get bit and see what happens, see if it worked or not. So if that's the case, I mean, isn't that the good fight? Isn't that what you want? Right? Don't you want like a vaccine of some sort? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if that's what's really going on here, I don't know. I don't know. We need to know more of that. We need to know more because we don't know too much when it comes to Leo. We saw some last season where he had like a relationship with one of the doctors there, but it was all planned. Like they're all trying to con him to keep him to stay there. So I think it's more of that, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But when it comes to the characters, I don't really care. The Hope situation, Eric, don't really care. Silas has a bunch of mental issues. He had a horrible situation with his dad. Remember that? Dad, mom, all this stuff. What do they plan to do with him? Don't know. Elton, I hope Elton finds some help because he's out there wandering alone. And that's it. The only happy-go-lucky crew right now is Will and Felix because they reunited and they're both healthy. They're okay. They're good.
Yeah.
So there we go. At least it worked out. Because that was my fear. I was like, oh, he's going to find him. He's going to be dead or turn him into a walker. He's going to be freaking out and shit. But no. Happy-go-lucky. So we will be back next week for, I think it's the mid-season finale for Walking Dead proper. And for episode 2. And I think we got Fear coming up soon. Because I think once Walking Dead goes on its break, then Fear comes back, and that's fun. We got nukes, we got radioactive walkers. That's gonna be nuts. Everybody walking in hazmat suits and stuff. That's gonna be fun. See, that's what I'm saying. Is that throw something different at me? That's fun. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for just sticking around for this. I'm really curious. I'm telling people, I want to hear from you. Are you guys into this show? Is this something that you're thrilled about that's back? And do you want to see any of these characters pop up in Walking Dead or Fear? Because the rumor is we are going to see some crossover. Don't know if it's long term, but some characters from here may pop up in some of the other ones. And I can understand that because we got the CRM. CRM's connected through all 3 shows. So they got copters. That's it, right? They can travel from one place to another without any issues. All right, we will see you next week, people. Thanks again. Peace.